Hello, 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 and welcome to the show. It is Monday, and I hope you had a good weekend. It's August 4th. There are lots of things happening. I've got JL Cauvin joining me, and we will be doing a Hangout tonight. I'll be hosting a Hangout at 8 p.m. tonight. I hope to see you there, and I'm very excited to have you here. I hope you had a good weekend and it was fun or not too bad, or maybe lazy. Maybe you got some things done. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you saw some people. Maybe you didn't. Either way, I had a quiet weekend. Got a lot done though, and I am very much looking forward to this week. Going to have some great guests joining me, and I'm excited to see you and hear from you. And I'm excited Drew is out of the hospital and that Paul Alderson edited his pledge up. That was very nice. And I try to give shout outs whenever it happens. I almost always miss, but that was very generous, Paul, and I'm very thankful to you. And to everybody who listens to this show, especially those who pay for your subscription, because I can't do it without you. And I'm here pretty much every day of the week giving you the most robust news recap, although I've been unreliable with the time that I get it up. Sorry for the choice of words, but that's how you do it. That's the words that you use in the biz. Getting it up. What time did you post it? And but I'll be back on a more consistent schedule, I think, starting next week when things are a little back to normal in my life. Still here at the house until Val gets back from Italy. I'm here with Julia for the week, and I'm excited. Excited to get things done and do things, and now let's do the show. And taking you behind the curtain of the show, the format, there are basically 4 blocks. I do an opening, I do the headlines, the clip show, which is audio clips from the day almost always, and then the interview or 2. Those are the different segments as I see them, as I produce them. And you love when you're in radio or in podcasting, have sound effects and jingles and stuff. That's always great and fun. Howard Stern made it very famous, as did so many others. But I love when people submit things. And, of course, Jon Carroll is a Grammy-winning, award-winning singer-songwriter, and, of course, one of the founding members of the Starland Vocal Band. You can still see him right now on tour. Jon is never stopping. We love him. He's often at our Hangouts. He's so super talented. He performed for us at Pod Jam 1. He's got a new album out, which we're all very excited about. And he wrote a great new opening for the headlines and clip show. And I'm going to bring it down to a little soundbite for you. But here's the full one, which I'll play from time to time. We love Jon, and we certainly love this.
You've been feeling out of touch. You can only take so much of the news these days. It's such a dare with all these pearls to clutch. Must be something I can do if I only knew a few more details that might light the way to where I'll join the fight and say you can't argue with what's right away. Some kindness and insight to lay some truth and light on that dark place within. That's when Pete's headlines and clip show begins. Coming in real handy. It's Pete's headlines and clip show. Get in on the shit show. It ain't the worst of it though. Pete knows what you might want to hear while checking out at Costco. When you're topping off at Sitco. Well, Pete's headlines and clip show may be all you really need to get you up to speed, to fetch you out of the weeds. It's time to stop housing and start sprouting some intellectual seeds. Cause we all need crucial info for when you're talking to the kinfolk. Cause Pete's headlines and clip shows gonna give you all of that. That's a fact. Get the lean without the fat. Know the stat. Toss out your tinfoil hat.
Yeah, Jon Carroll. We love it. We love him. And that is a great way to start the headlines and clip show. How about it? Oh, so good. So good. I'll have an abbreviated version, but that was awesome, Jon. Thank you so much. JonCarroll.org, everybody. Go buy his album right now. Buy it again. Send him your money. Download it right now. It's so good. He's so good. I hope he'll be at tonight's Hangout and we can give him a round of applause. But let's get to those headlines right now. A lot, as always. I think the big ones on Friday is that the president of the United States fired the lady who comes out with the job numbers because he didn't like the job numbers. I mean, I don't know how to make a bigger deal of that. It seems like some of these other big stories and things that he does and everything that he does gets a tremendous amount of attention for a day or two, or not enough, obviously. But on Friday, when he decided that he didn't like the statistics and then he fired the person who comes out with them, that was bad. It was really bad for a lot of reasons. I'll talk with JL about it coming up. Of course, the other big story from Friday is that Republicans set out to kill the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. And guess what? They succeeded. Yeah. I mean, I don't even understand how to wrap my head around that. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting announced Friday that it will begin shutting down weeks after Congress canceled previously approved funding for the nation's steward of public media access. The CPB said in a statement that it will begin an orderly wind down of its operations after nearly 60 years of support from the federal government. And they don't like it because the same reason they don't like the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They don't like statistics. They don't like data. I mean, that's exactly what this is about. I'm so tired of things being liberal or progressive. They're not seeing all the points of views. There aren't 9 points of views on all things. Sometimes there's only one. Donald Trump did not win the 2020 election. Climate change is real and being caused by man's burning of greenhouse gases. And vaccines are a public health miracle. Sorry for being so worked up on a Monday, but I feel like I have to be to show the energy and outrage for some of these things. Oh, you heard about the new White House project set to begin in September. It's a 90,000 square foot ballroom. So, okay. I mean, I guess we're not paying for that one. His rich friends are. He already paved over the Rose Garden. He's making it his home because he's going to live there. He thinks he's going to be there forever. I mean, you don't do all this work on a home that you're about to leave, do you? Also, they approved that he gets to keep that $1 billion plane that he bought, or did not buy, was gifted. Forgive me. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator and confidant, was moved to a minimum security federal prison in Texas. And I watched episode 1 of the Netflix show on her, documentary on her. She's bad. She did terrible, terrible things to people. And to children. And it's never happened that they've moved a sex trafficker to minimum security federal prison. I heard an expert on such things say. So that's crazy. And it's not okay. Stocks tumbled on Friday to kick off August trading as investors weighed stark signs of weakening economy and our Mad King's modified tariff rates. So we're going to see prices go up, more inflation, and the stock market slowly or rapidly start to crumble because of the trade wars. And there are many that our Mad King has started with everybody because he wants them to all come kiss his ring and say nice things to him. The envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, has no experience in such things. The U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, they made an extremely rare visit to Gaza on Friday amid the spiraling hunger crisis in the enclave. And they did more than what journalists are allowed to do. How about that? Because journalists are not allowed in. Israel does not allow journalists in. Got a big problem with that and always have. How can that be a thing? That looks when it looks like you're hiding something, you're not letting journalists in, it probably is, right? Do we need to ask a lot more questions about it? Also, our Mad King says he'd ordered nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions, whatever the hell that means. We don't have nuclear submarines positioned in the appropriate regions already? But he said Friday that he'd ordered the deployment of 2 submarines in response to what he called highly provocative statements from the Russian President Dmitry Medvedev about Russia's nuclear capabilities. Great. So in case that wasn't on your mind, now you can put it there. And now you can get rid of it because he's just trying to wave his dick around, which is why he loves submarines. Democrats have fled Texas to block Republican redistricting map backed by Trump, so that's good and desperate, but still, they're doing whatever they can. They've gone to Illinois. They were seen with the governor there, Governor Pritzker. Hamas says it's going to allow aid for hostages if Israel halts airstrikes and opens permanent negotiations or humanitarian corridors. Elon Musk, for some reason, donated $5 million to Trump. This is weeks after he claimed that he's covering up Epstein files because he's in them. So he's in the Epstein files, and Elon Musk is giving him money. And I thought he didn't like him. So, well, that happened. All right, those are the headlines I've gathered for you. There are so many more. I skipped around here on the Monday show. I apologize for that, but I got a lot of clips for you. But I do want to just read this email that I got from a woman named Amanda L. I love when I get feedback from you guys, especially if it's something I can do better or something I said that was incorrect or wrong. In this case, that's what Amanda's addressing, and she couched it in a compliment. I always like that, nice words at the beginning, then the criticism or whatever, and then nice words at the end. A good idea to use in life as well, with your kids, with your partner. Couch it in a compliment as you're delivering some kind of critique, which is not really at all what this is, but it's definitely an editorial note that she mentions, and it's an important one. So Amanda writes, thanks so much for your very excellent interview with Glenn Kirshner. As a longtime listener, I always appreciate your interviews with Glenn, and your conversation about the Epstein file situation was poignant and brought critical points to light. That said, here comes the criticism, and I like it. I'd like to offer one critique pertaining to the use of the phrase underaged women when referencing the scores of girls who were raped and abused in this case. The fact that they were underage means that they were children when this happened. Referring to them as underage women is a disservice to both the gravity of the trauma they experience at a vulnerable time in their adolescent development and the weight of the crimes perpetrated against them by adult men. I rarely write messages like this, but I felt the need to do so because of my deep and abiding respect for you and the work you do to call out injustice and bring forth truth through high quality and fact-based public discourse. Thanks again for the open and supportive community you've built and all you do to be a light during these dark times. I look forward to listening to your show for years to come. Amanda, what a very nice email. You said a lot of nice things, and your critique and criticism is accurate, perfect, and I will absolutely try to strike the phrase underaged women. Which should I use? Which phrase should I use? Young girls, children. This is not the first time I've heard this, and so I feel I should be better. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Great points. I don't have anything else to add to them. I just wanted to share that so everybody can learn from my mistakes, and we can all use a better, more responsible phrase and language when we're talking about anyone under the age of 18, and often children that are sexually assaulted, raped, manipulated, etc., and all the rest. So thank you for that email, Amanda, and anybody who wants to send critiques, criticisms, questions, compliments, guest ideas, like Terry, Dr. Terry Ashby sent some guest ideas yesterday. Always appreciate that. Send them to standupwithpete@gmail.com. Okay. Now time for your clips. All right. First, I'm going to open with this Jon Ossoff clip. I played it once before, but it's so good, I'm playing it again. This is the exact messaging that we need from Democrats, electeds, all the way up and down government, as well as, I think, liberal commentators, etc., influencers. It's very good. And so I want to share it with you again in hopes that you share it or memorize it, and I need to as well. I think, and if you don't like this and there's some holes you want to poke or argument about Senator Jon Ossoff's comments here at a rally, then let me know. But I think this is so good, I'm playing it again.
I get why people voted for him. Because even before he came on the scene, America had the most corrupt political system in the Western world. It's been running on corporate money, secret money, billionaire money, both sides. And it's worse than ever now. Citizens United was the worst court decision in modern American history. And when members of Congress aren't begging for money from lobbyists, they're trying to dodge getting carpet bombed by these super PACs. Senators get threatened every day with millions and millions of dollars of attack ads over the votes that we take. And see, this is why nothing works for ordinary people. It's not because of woke college kids or trans students or because there are interracial couples in cereal commercials. It's because the people's elected representatives don't represent the people. They represent the donors. And that corruption is why they just defunded nursing homes to cut taxes for the rich. Corruption is why you pay a fortune for prescriptions. Corruption is why your insurance claim keeps getting denied. Corruption is why hedge funds get to buy up all the houses in your neighborhood, driving you out of the market, and then your corporate landlord ignores your calls during a gas leak. Corruption is why that ambulance costs $3,000 after you just had to get your choking toddler to the hospital. So Trump promised to attack a broken system. I get it. Ripe target. But here's the thing, he's a crook and a con man, and he wants to be a king. Yes, the system really is rigged, but Trump's not unrigging it. He's re-rigging it for himself.
Yes, indeed, Senator John Ossoff. We love it. And moving on, here is another clip we love. This is a Texan man, a Texas man, an older gentleman who is at a town hall or a community public comment space. I'm not sure exactly where this happened, but he is so good and so doesn't give any fucks. And I really like the way he lays this out, saying that they took orders from their king and are redistricting, and it's no good. Here it is.
To speak. I want to start, thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want to start out by saying this. He was caught cheating on video on the golf course. He cheated on his taxes. He cheated on his business loans. He cheated on his wives. He cheated on the business contractors that he stiffed through 40 years of business. And he tried to cheat in the 2020 election. Now he's trying to cheat and win this 2026 midterm election because he knows he can't win. He has ordered Governor Greg Abbott to obey his command and cheat on a Texas redistricting scam to gerrymander 5 new, grossly and illegally drawn House districts. We are here because Texas is the first state under assault. If Texas House Republicans bow down to Trump like Abbott did, the other red states will follow. And if they do that, then America will be under assault. To me, House Republicans, in this case, are like a bunch of buzzards on the fence, waiting to swoop down on a dying carcass of democracy and feed on that. America is a democratic republic, and it's being dismantled daily by Donald Trump. Every single House Republican is under assault by Trump and Abbott. They are telling you that your integrity, your honor, and your duty is for sale. And he is the buyer. And if you obey, you will be rewarded by not being primaried. And if you stand up to him and say no, you will be punished and primaried. And it's that diabolical, it's that simple. In other words, and I don't say this lightly, in other words, he's asking each of you to be one, pardon this word, I mean it in a philosophical way, not a sexual way, but he's asking every one of the Republican representatives in this room to be one of his prostitutes. And I believe that.
All right. Wow. People were like uncomfortable, I think, hearing him say that, but then at the same time, it had to be said. It had to be said in that format, on that platform. Oh, man, I thought it was so good. And speaking of good, here's another good clip. This is Mehdi Hasan, and he's quickly become, especially lately, but for a while now, he's been one of the best people, journalists, to debate right-wingers and MAGA people when they're brave enough to talk to him. And he's been, kind of everywhere. He was at MSNBC for a while, and then they, I think, stupidly let him go. He went off and immediately created his own thing with lots of investors, is my understanding, as well. Zateo, which is got 1 million followers, subscribers now, I think, on YouTube. This is on Al Jazeera, however, where he went head to head with Trump's former chief of staff from Trump 1, his first administration, Mick Mulvaney. And oh my gosh, is this clip a real massacre and hard to listen to or watch, or also awesome to listen to and watch and learn from. Mehdi Hasan just absolutely crushing Mick Mulvaney, who is clearly a huge racist because he doesn't know what racism is.
He goes, you tell him Ronaldo said hello. He's the best boss I ever had. I'm like, what is that? He goes, I was the cameraman on The Apprentice for 10 years. The best boss I've ever had. I've seen him interact with folks of all races.
Respect, if you have a black friend, it doesn't mean you
It doesn't. It doesn't. It absolutely, no, it doesn't. But that's not.
When he tells non-white women to go back to where they came from, is that not racist?
Who knows better about whether or not somebody's a racist? You or the person that might have interacted with him for 10 years who is a minority?
Well, all the 4 women who got the racist abuse said he was a racist.
And you don't think politics has anything to do with that?
All right, how about all the black and brown people watching who have been told since they were kids, go back to where you came from playground onwards? It is the most racist insult known to black and brown people.
I can't speak to that. I can
you were chief of staff.
I can speak to Donald Trump, not a racist.
Hold on, you've told me earlier you know the job of chief of staff. I don't, so I'm asking. Yes. Is the job of chief of staff to say something when the boss puts out a racist tweet?
Publicly? No, never.
Privately, did you call him out and say you
I don't talk about what I said to the president privately.
You do.
No chiefs of staff do.
You do.
Very rarely.
It's funny, you can tell us a story about Ronaldo and you went and told the president and you've told us what the president said.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what he said to you when you apparently may or may not have called him out for racism.
I did not, let's be perfectly clear. I did not call him out for racism on this because I don't believe it to be racist.
Why not?
Because I know those people.
Okay, what country is Ayanna Pressley from?
I have no idea.
She's from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
So what country is she from?
She's American.
So why did you say to tell her to go back to the country from which she came?
Because this is how Donald Trump communicates.
Genuinely, explain to me how telling a black woman born and raised in the United States
by the way,
to go back to the country she came from
until you told me the
racist.
Story, I didn't even know she was a black woman. I don't know who she is.
You should probably work in politics more. You don't know who members of Congress are, senators are. All right. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I could pick her out of a lineup.
Where is she from?
Is she Puerto Rican?
She's born in New York City.
Okay.
And Puerto Rico is part of?
Puerto Rico is a protector of the United States, and you are a citizen.
So which country should AOC go back to?
She's American.
So why did Trump tell her to go back to the country?
I think maybe she should get her hell out of Washington, D.C.
That's not what he said, though. Let me read to you. They originally come from countries whose governments are a complete catastrophe. Look, what is he talking about?
Betty, if you're trying to convince me that Donald Trump is a racist...
I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm asking you on television with an audience watching to explain to me in good faith, what did Donald Trump mean when he told...
Trying to shut them up.
By making racist remarks?
I don't consider them to be racist.
Why?
You do.
And I'm asking why.
Because I know these people, and I do not believe that was racially made up. No.
You know someone doesn't mean a statement's not racist.
Sure, absolutely.
That's not how it works.
No, because
it does.
Because, racism is a state of mind. Okay?
No, it's not.
It absolutely is.
No, it's not.
Well,
an act, a word, a statement can be racist. This is a racist statement.
I do not consider Donald Trump to be racist.
I didn't ask that question. That's a very good politician evasion. I asked you about this statement, and you're not able to defend it.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. How about it? Man, that was a real I want to know what people think of that. I think we're going to watch that one together at the Hangout tonight. Now over to Colbert, who had the former head of the National Institutes of Health, very thoughtful man. Francis Collins was on the couch talking to Colbert, and he had this thoughtful warning.
But you know what I'm worried about most?
What are you most worried about?
The compassion deficit, Stephen. What happened to us? How can it have become normalized not to be concerned about our fellow human beings, even if they're not living in our house? Maybe they're down the street suffering, or maybe they're in another part of the globe suffering. Predictions are that since the plug was pulled on USAID and PEPFAR, 90,000 children have died unnecessarily. That's the prediction from the people who follow this closely. And yet, where's the outrage? Why are people looking the other way? Where's our compassion? We got to get that back. And I think that's up to us. If we want to flourish as a society, that's what we need to do.
Yeah. How about it? What happened to us? I loved that clip. I'm happy to have shared it and to have heard it. And that guy seems like a great guy. Now, this guy does not seem like a great guy, but I get a weird vibe from Michael Wolff, who I called Richard Wolff, apparently, who is an economist, anti-capitalist economist who I love. But this is Michael Wolff, and he interviewed at Jeffrey Epstein like hundreds of times. And so he's been trying to get this information out, but a lot of journalists think it's not it's not vetted well enough. It's one man. Maybe he made it up and they don't want to print it or say it, especially now because they're afraid to get sued by Schittler. But here it is anyway. I'm playing it on the podcast. He was on the Midas Touch show, so let him sue them first.
I urged Epstein. I said, you should release these pictures. I mean, if for no other reason, and Epstein was already in trouble and already a figure of which people were, he was already demonized. I said, maybe this will even help you. You can be on the side of right here. And I remember Epstein said, again, chilling at the time, he said, I may be a pervert, but I'm not crazy. And then he said, Trump is a man without any scruples. Chill went up my back then.
All right. A chill went up his back. Okay. He makes everything very dramatic. Like I said, I don't much care for that guy, but he has most of what he's written. Most of it, I think, has come true, borne out. He's like a lower grade Bob Woodward, I guess. I don't know. All right, now let's dig into some of the audio clips I've got for you around the job numbers, the obfuscating of them, the questioning of them, the creating doubt, sowing doubt around them, the firing of the person who does all the stats, who, by the way, Trump loved when she gave good numbers, had good numbers as a result of the math, but not so much when the numbers aren't good. Let's start with CNN, Abby Phillips on Friday night.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is a different story from what's happening with the economy. It's a story about whether or not there is to be any trustworthy economic data to be had under this administration.
Or not even just economic data. I mean, any data. He seems to be getting rid of statisticians and climate people and weather experts and scientists and anyone who doesn't agree with what he wants to tell or what he wants to say. It's like we're getting very close to the end of being able to trust anything this government says, and I think that should really alarm people. That
was Heather McGowan, or Politics Girl, there at the end. Now, here is a guy who used to work at the BLS. His name is Richard Coe, and he was on MSNBC, I think.
Dan, you worked at that agency. 1 to 10, 10 being basically worst case scenario. Where do you put this?
This is about a 9.5 trending to a 10. Look, this is like firing the referee because you don't like the final score of a game. If you look at the typical timeline of how this works, the BLS commissioner isn't even presented with the data until the Wednesday before the announcement. By the way, the president claimed that he first saw the jobs data this morning. That's almost certainly a lie. Typically, the president and his senior team are briefed the day before the jobs numbers come out.
All right. Well, there's that response, couple there, and let's go to ABC's This Week, where George Stephanopoulos had Larry Summers on. He is the former Treasury Secretary, former president of Harvard, and other things, and he was pretty dramatic with what he said.
I guess this firing of the BLS commissioner goes in the category of shocking but not surprising.
Yeah, I mean, this is way beyond anything that Richard Nixon ever did. I'm surprised that other officials have not responded by resigning themselves, as took place when Richard Nixon fired people lawlessly. This is a preposterous charge. These numbers are put together by teams of literally hundreds of people following detailed procedures that are in manuals. There's no conceivable way that the head of the BLS could have manipulated this number. The numbers are in line with what we're seeing from all kinds of private sector sources. This is the stuff of democracies giving way to authoritarianism. Firing statisticians goes with threatening the heads of newspapers. It goes with launching assaults on universities. It goes with launching assaults on law firms that defend clients that the elected boss finds uncongenial. This is really scary stuff, and it can hardly be surprising that when the rule of law is a bit in question, that there's a big uncertainty premium in the markets that is operating to both make there be less investment, which slows the economy down, and also means there's less supply so that there's more inflationary pressure.
All right, there you go. Sorry, Larry Summers with a lot, but important information. And now let's go over to Bill Nye, the science guy. Speaking of data and statistics, here he is talking about climate change denial.
I want to start with the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin's claims that overturning the EPA's endangerment finding is a good thing. You are the best science educator out there, I will say. Explain why overturning or potentially overturning this rule is a big deal.
Well, so the premise of the bit back in 2009 was carbon dioxide, if you think of it as the greenhouse gas that keeps the Earth warm enough for all of us to be here, to have liquid water, solid water, and gaseous water all at the same time, that's great. If you think of it as the chemical, the compound that nourishes plants, that enables them to metabolize and for you and me to have food, that's really good. But if you have too much carbon dioxide, then the world's getting warmer at a, right now, uncontrollable rate, and that's bad. So carbon dioxide is a gas that is both good and bad. And Mr. Zeldin and his colleagues have embraced the idea that it's only good. And so, therefore, it's not a pollutant, or it doesn't endanger anyone, as was discovered, as you said, back sort of at 1950s, but especially in the 1980s. People pointed out that if you have too much of it, that we're going to have serious problems here on Earth. And so I'll just say categorically, he's wrong. They're wrong. What they're talking about is inappropriate. And he's embraced the idea that the oil and gas industry has promulgated for a long time, that climate change is not a serious problem.
All right, there you go. Bill Nye debunking Trump's EPA claims about climate regulation. And finally, John Oliver blasting Trump on Last Week Tonight this past weekend for brushing off starving Gaza children as merely very hungry, turning the moment into a brag about giving $60 million in aid and making it about himself for not getting a thank you. Nobody does it better than John Oliver.
Despite something a little distracting.
Prime Minister Netanyahu said there's no starvation in Gaza. Do you agree with that assessment?
I don't know. I mean, based on television, I would say not particularly, because children look very hungry.
Okay. Describing starving children as looking very hungry is a massive understatement, right up there with "we were just friends." But while that was a rare moment of Trump expressing something resembling empathy, he still managed to make everything about himself, despite something a little distracting happening just off camera. And see if your ears notice it.
You have a lot of starving people. You have people that, the United States recently, just a couple of weeks ago, we gave $60 million. It's a lot of money. No other nation gave money, but we gave $60 million. Nobody said even thank you. Thanks. Somebody should say thank you.
Okay. Before we go any further, I love that no one thought to ask the bagpiper to stop playing or for Trump to stop talking. Instead, they went with option 3, let them both simultaneously blow hot air through their tiny holes. And look, I hate the bagpipes. They sound terrible, and anyone playing them looks like they're giving head to an upside-down ostrich. But if there were ever a good time for bagpipes to ruin a moment, Trump making himself the victim during a humanitarian crisis is definitely it.
Yeah, John Oliver, Last Week Tonight. Great stuff, as always. Okay, well, that's your clip show. Those are your headlines, and now it's time to get to my interview with JL Cauvin. Again, thank you to everybody listening, paying for a subscription. It's ad-free, so I plug the paid subscribers as much as I can, the amazing community that we've built, the 2 Hangouts that I host, the Discord platform is always available to you. You're never alone if you're a stand-up community member. I hope you'll come to Farm Jam. That is coming up September 5th through 7th. I should be plugging that at the opening of Everyday Show. Yeah, get on that, Pete. Produce some Farm Jam promotions. We'll tell you what's going to go on. I think we'll also, by the way, host a Zoom Hangout. I just thought of that. I'm sure Kevin will be fine with anybody who's coming to Farm Jam, and many of you are. We can talk about what we're going to do and make you feel a little bit more comfortable than we have in the past when you just show up and there's people you don't know and so on. We'll let you know when that's going to be, the Zoom Hangout to talk about and preview Farm Jam. Okay, now it's time to get to my conversation with JL Cauvin. We talked late Sunday night around 7 p.m. You can watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/standupwithpete. Of course, JL is the host of 2 amazing podcasts. Rain on Your Parade is back, and I'm a huge fan of that. Making Podcasts Great Again, where he does his Trump impression. And he's promoting his CAmeo now. That's become popular again. So go buy or pay him to do a cameo. He's one of the funniest, smartest people I know. He's a Georgetown educated lawyer. He's now working for a nonprofit that keeps people in their homes, prevents homelessness here in New York City. He's a very good guy, a very smart guy, a very funny guy. I love him. I always love when we talk. Here he is, JL Cauvin. Yeah, there he is, JL Cauvin, who, this is hilarious, folks. If you're watching, you know what he looks like. And if you don't, I mean, you're out in the cold. You got to know what he looks like. You missed an Adam Sandler lookalike contest because you had a different gig nearby, which you killed, which is great. But you missed an Adam Sandler contest and that lookalike contest, and that is hilarious.
Yeah, it's very sad. You know, when it rains, it pours for me. So just like literally when I got my new job, like within the last 3 weeks, I have gotten more responses from comedy clubs than I had the previous 5 months. That's not a joke. That's just the way the world works. And so, of course, I see a notice for an Adam Sandler lookalike contest at a restaurant I go to sometimes, a mile and a half from my apartment. But it was at the exact same time that I had a show in Newark. And I would have won because even if somebody looked more like Adam Sandler than me, I would just simply start impersonating Adam Sandler, and then it would be over. That would be the tiebreaker.
Did you see who won?
I didn't. And I my luck would be, and then Adam Sandler showed up and gave a movie role to the winner. That's the only thing that would make it more JL. So
I got a lot of things I want to talk to you about here on Sunday night for the Monday podcast. But if you're watching live, thank you for checking in with us. And JL has been doing some great podcasting over at Rain on Your Parade and making podcasts great again. And I'm loving what you're doing. You're back with your producer, Mike, which I think you guys have great chemistry. But first, I just got to ask you about the news Friday when the president, our tiny little mad king, we got the job numbers. They weren't great. And then he fired the Senate confirmed statistician in charge of it. What do you think of the president of the United States firing the person in charge of statistics because he doesn't like the statistics?
Who else are you going to fire if you don't like the statistics? I think it makes perfect sense that you would fire the person in charge of statistics. Yeah, this isn't typical Donald Trump 4D chess. This is 2 + 2 = 4. This is basic fundamentals of government. If someone reports accurately on the poor performance of things that you're causing and you're not willing to change the things you're doing, then the next logical person to fire is the person reporting that. It's a political doctrine known as see no evil, hear no evil. So that's, it makes total sense to me. It's sad. I love the fact that I start a new job, thus helping Trump's labor statistics, and they're still bad. I think that may be the key to taking down the Trump economy. Me having a good job is like the JL jinx, but now I'm in the economic data. I'm in the labor stats, like infecting them. So you're welcome, everybody. When the economy tanks and ruins Trump's second term, you can thank me. I've been hired for the last time I was hired for a full-time job, 2019, also President Trump. So,
the woman he fired, Dr. McIntyre, he said that.
But what's she a doctor of? If you're on a plane, this statistic is having a heart attack. Do we have a doctor of stats on the plane? No, I mean, good riddance. Good riddance.
I think she's got a PhD in economics, but regardless, he fired her because he said
player hater degree. If you know your 90s hip hop, because that's what she was doing. She was
Ari Melber. Jesus, calm down. He said that she rigged the statistics to hurt him politically, but you can't. Right. You just can't do that.
And then he called her assistant, who's black, a rigger because he was rigging the statistics. What? I mean, that's unless I misheard Trump.
No,
I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I hope there wasn't a glitch there that made me sound like I said something else.
I feel like this is just, I want to belabor it for one more moment because it feels like a pretty big moment.
Sure.
Because these statistics matter a lot for every business in the country. They matter for the Fed. They matter for so many important reasons, and to have them be falsified, there's precedent for this in other countries like Greece and China and Argentina, and bad things happen when you fake the numbers, when you actually, or you misreport them or over or underreport on purpose. And it would seem that this could do a good amount of damage to the credibility, I mean, of this agency and obviously to America in general from the standpoint of hiring like the companies and anybody else and anybody in the finance industry. Like everybody always talks about the stock market is the measure of the economy, which is stupid. It's not. This is the probably most accurate measure, I think. Jobs. Do people have them?
And it's, Trump has set the country back 50 years probably. And because you just imagine how difficult it is for us to pass laws anymore. And he's stripped so many things that will be so hard to reinstate and bring back with a MAGA Republican Party that's only committed to demonizing and harming and frustrating Democrats. They don't really have any agenda other than that. Just like right-wing news media's real job is not to report any news. It's to make other news less reputable and less trustworthy to people. That's it. They win when you don't trust the other people. They're not trying to get you to trust them. And with Trump, it's what a shock that he's doing things only for his own ego and he doesn't care about harming the country or the reputation of the country. What a shock that this is like the 12th time he's done this in his first 6 months. And I know this is particularly bad, but people won't trust America for a long time. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
When we voted Trump in, he's doing sort of the like a degree of difficulty dive in the Olympics. It's like he chose a high degree of difficulty in the category of fucking up America, but he's nailing it. He's hitting all the points that the judges want to see if you're really trying to fuck up America in a historic way. And people, when we elect hopefully a Democrat in 2028, and if we get a Democratic House at least in 2026, the other countries, they were willing to call it a mulligan 2016. Oh, what an aberration. But they're saying again, they realize their error. Right. By re-electing Trump, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That is what this is. And so the damage is going to be so long lasting. So yes, statistics and labor, this is a kind of thing that would be bad under Trump. This is a bad thing under him. But the damage is so much greater every day and for the next 10 to 20 to 30 years for this country and the world.
And the other economic issue, speaking of credibility, of course, is the trade war that he started with every country in the world, which is just insane. I heard this analyst talking about trade.
I find Brazil to be obviously the most gross of all of it by a mile. Like it's like my franchisee Jair Bolsonaro. You're messing with my franchisee in Brazil. That's right. And therefore,
the former president of Brazil is being prosecuted, and by
the Trump of the tropics, they said. So that was enough for Trump to say, "How dare you?" Just because he tried to do exactly what I did, and Brazil didn't let him get away with it, I'm going to tariff you. It's disgusting.
So that's one tariff, and it's really disgusting. And everybody loses. People in Brazil and people in America, everybody loses because he's such a psycho. And this is what we talk about when we're living inside his psychopathy. It's every day it affects us. So the rest of these tariffs,
Isn't that Christopher Nolan's movie studio?
Yes.
Okay. I know you don't know, but when you watch a Christopher Nolan movie next, watch the opening credits and you'll get my joke.
I love when I have to get your jokes later.
Most crowds do. They all wonder why I wasn't successful. And it's like, because you got to get the jokes and buy the tickets when I'm in your city and not 3 weeks later.
So 2 days ago, the Dow sank 500 points. Global stocks dropped as he unveiled these new tariffs. And negotiating a trade agreement sometimes takes more than a year. Sometimes years. He's trying to negotiate like 100 of them. He's failing miserably. In my understanding, a lot of like the Scott Jennings of the world and other right-wing Republicans, and even Bill Maher, I heard, was saying, I was wrong about these tariffs, okay? And they're forgetting the fact that Trump started a trade war The world went nuts. 3 days later, his people went nuts. 3 days later, he stopped it. He pulled back and gave everybody extension. Well, we're now there. But people are so dumb, or just obfuscating the point, to say that, well, we haven't seen what was predicted. Well, yeah, because he caved, he tacoed. But now we're back here, and I think it's inevitable that we're going to start seeing prices go up unless he keeps caving, and I don't think that's going to work. So this is happening. We're seeing a slowdown in the job market, and now things are going to cost a lot more money. No prices of anything are going down. As promised, that was supposed to be the issue. What do you predict happens here? What are your thoughts?
Well, Pete, as an American, I think it's incumbent on me to say, I have a job and I'm doing well, so therefore I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, but but those people, even shit's going to cost more expensive as a result of the trade war. So yeah, you might have a job and doing well, but
I have stocked up on powdered milk, so I'm ready for the pending shortages.
Why do you have powdered milk as a?
I feel like that's the saddest thing I could say that I've actually experienced. I've experienced powdered milk in my life.
Oh, wow. Why?
I don't know. I think my mom and dad weren't doing too great when I came into the world.
Oh.
So we had, you realize as a kid, you look back and you go, oh, we did good. We were fine, but there may be a little struggles here and there. I think it was even worse before I was born, according to my brother. But anyway, that's a downer. What were we talking about again? Oh, the failure of the American economy.
Tariffs.
Tariffs.
And how the world sees us and how we.
Well, my joke was we need to start pronouncing them tariffs, and then Trump will run away from them as fast as possible. Is that a Middle Eastern person? Get them out. We don't want any more tariffs. I think I stand by, unfortunately, my first opinion when Trump got reelected. And I know this is very callous, but in the grand scheme of redeeming America, and not in the way that the current Confederacy might view the redemption of America from the 1800s, but I think the pain has to come. I'm sorry, like I really hate saying that, like I'm some like above it and won't be impacted. And hey, you know what? You've got to feel the pain. We will only learn. I mean, that's it's. I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying if you want this country to thrive again and learn something historical at some point, that will maybe change us from this stupid, selfish, bigoted country that's able to put petty hatreds and prejudices above obvious good, then it has to hit these people hard. It has to fuck up people's lives, and they have to feel it. And it's like, that's not me saying, I'm not sitting here laughing going, can't wait for these people to suffer. I'm going,
you're not going to say it. Nobody is going to, the vast majority of people aren't. I think you're saying it perfectly well. I agree with you. Yeah.
And I,
unfortunately,
I thought about this the other day, that in my life, like in my voting eligible lifetime, since 2000, so 25 years, I've been able to vote in presidential elections. The Republicans have given us George W. Bush and Donald Trump. Yeah. That's it. That's what they've given us. This is like when people look at those two.
Look at the other nominees that they gave us, John McCain and Mitt Romney, that didn't win, but yeah.
And
Obama.
You know, the Democrats offered us Al Gore, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. Like, it's so night and day in terms of what one party expects and demands of their, whether you like Hillary Clinton or not. Very, very stupid people might say she's not eminently smart and qualified and experienced. Clowns are who the Republicans elect. Reality TV versions of presidents, whether it's the fake cowboy or the fake real estate mogul. And even in my lifetime, George H.W. Bush is the only guy, ironically, the only one not to get a second term. He's the only one, if you look at their record and body of work and the way they carried themselves, he's the class of that group by a mile when you're talking Reagan, Trump, and his son. It's not even close, and he's the only one who didn't get a second term. There's
something about legacy, being a legacy, inheriting your wealth and going to the best schools. And so George H.W. Bush's dad, Prescott, was the guy who made the money. Yeah. George H.W. Bush, though, capitalized on all of it. He went to the best schools. He fought in World War II. He was a smart guy. But then the third generation of inherited wealth, that guy doesn't really have to work nearly as hard. George W. Bush.
We call that the Don Jr. generation.
Right. Exactly. So let me ask you about Epstein. You did an episode where you talked a lot about it, but it was like 2 weeks ago, and a lot has changed. I mean, it's hard to keep track of, but new information keeps trickling out, and you're not sure what is accurate or real. You know, when you get authors like Richard Wolff, and this other guy apparently just came out with a new book where he says Trump and Prince Andrew talked pussy. That's the word. A lot, apparently. And Trump himself now has given more information, which is insane. But the information that he gave and the headline basically was...
But I think in England they call it a lift.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So anyway, Trump said that Jeffrey Epstein stole her. He stole her in reference to a young woman who was working at Mar-a-Lago at the time, Virginia Giuffre, who just recently killed herself, of course. What do you make of how much has come out just over the past week to 10 days and where we are? This is not going away because this is a right-wing fueled issue, unlike all the other things that we try to keep in the news about him, like the insurrection. This, I feel like, isn't going away. He keeps helping it in a way.
Yeah, I mean, he is...
And new information coming out, where like it's leaking out.
I do love the fact that Republicans definitely don't care about women who are adults who get sexually assaulted. And I'm sorry to laugh, but it is funny. It is darkly funny that it's like all these women are just liars trying to get a paycheck. But in the sort of dark fantasy of fighting sexual abuse and sex trafficking and child sex trafficking in this world that every MAGA person is Liam Neeson from Taken. That's, I think, what they kind of want their lives to be. And they good. I don't really have a big thought on it. I mean, I think he's a creep. I think he's an arrogant sexual predator. You know, everybody will. I see this tweet from time to time where it'll show Donald Trump mocking, I think it's Serge Kovaleski, the journalist with the hand issue, who I believe I may have met once because he was a colleague of my brother's.
Hand issue?
You remember when Trump said, mocking the journalist who wrote about him, you're not looking at me, but he did the sort of palsy with the hand.
Yeah.
And people said, how did we elect him after that? And I still maintain for a Republican Party and its fringe that are so obsessed with pedophiles. And it's so weird. They put you in this position of like, oh, you don't care about pedophiles? I'm like, well, I don't think about them. It's not that I endorse them or think they're doing a good job. I think they're obviously sick people who need to be kept away from kids and imprisoned or given psychological treatment or whatever the range of things that you do. But I don't they don't occupy any of my mind during the day. And it seems to be this weird obsession for this element of the right.
Well, I don't like it because they seem to think that they care more about child abuse than liberals or Democrats like. And sometimes I think mainstream journalists and others frame it that way. You know, this is a big issue. Pedophilia and sexual abuse is a huge issue on the right. No, it's no more of an issue than it is on the left. But if we talked about this, I think at our last Hangout, a lot of listeners are there. The right is always obsessed with all things sexual and sexuality, and they're far more likely to be the abusers. I think it's fair to say, especially if they're, posing as religious people or they are religious people. But
nobody talks about how Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham are running a bestiality ring. And as a pet owner, I think that's something, I'm not equating pets and children, but I think it's worth looking into that half of the GOP is involved deeply in an international bestiality ring.
I did not know that. I've not seen any reporting to that.
Yeah, they don't want you to see it, Pete. They don't want you to see it. Because imagine what would happen to this country if you found out one political party was basically having monthly bestiality fests.
I did hear a rumor about that when they were having these bestiality fests, that Lindsey Graham was really upset that there were no human men there.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the vegan of the bestiality fests. He's like, is there a vegetarian pizza or a man here? No, just dogs and gerbils. Great.
Is this
everybody? Hello, can somebody? I mean, some of us like men.
Is the Epstein thing going away, and does it matter?
I think it's useful. I don't think it's going away for a while. I think eventually the Scott Jennings of the world will rally the troops via the media, the Tucker Carlsons, et cetera. They'll get the memo, the Charlie Kirks who've already backed off, and they may lose some votes. But here's the thing. And what people don't realize, Donald Trump, he would only care if he was actually going to run for a third term unconstitutionally. He doesn't care.
Right.
He does not care. His polling could get to 5%. And he'll be like, okay, and what are you going to do now? Not vote for me when I don't run again? I think when it comes down to that, he's in a sort of, well, he's always operated in a, what are you going to do about it sort of approach. And if you can't vote him out because he's not running again, he'll just deny, and then he'll be gone. And he'll ruin the country, and he'll satisfy his own ego that he got 2 terms like the black guy. He'll claim to have won 3 elections, which is one more than the black guy. So in his own mind, he will have beaten the black guy, which is very kind of important, I think, to him. And he'll ride off into the fiery sunset of hell.
I think you're probably right about all of that. I want to make sure I ask you about government canceling comedians, the ultimate cancel culture. There's no bigger cancellation in all of, quote, cancel culture than the government intervening potentially and putting its finger on the scale as a result of this merger and getting rid of Colbert. What are your thoughts on this? You've talked about this a lot on your podcast as well, and I really wanted to.
Yeah, I think, it's very obvious that, in terms of money losing, people keep bringing up the financials. I think it's weird that he was the number 1 rated show. And I just guess I guess it says, everybody said this already, but late night television is changing. And by changing, it probably means dying. Because once again, not that comedy is as important as news, but I just think we are. So I don't know, just to get to your question, I don't know that he was the timing of it or the timing of the announcement might have been tied to how he was speaking of the merger. But the show was probably going to end anyway, I'm guessing. I sort of, beyond the horrible sort of pressure on news organizations and the settlement with CBS, I think all that was absolutely fucking disgusting. I think I just mourn the loss of a society that had sort of shared spaces, whether it was trusting major journalism outlets or coming together through a few programs or a few comedy shows that sort of just gave a common sense of reference. If anything, at least having a common sense of reference made joking with people easier. Now everybody has their 1.3% of knowledge and pop culture that their peer group and their friends understand, and then are clueless to whatever everybody else is doing.
Well said. Yeah.
And it's creating, we talk about our news silos, but I think we also have very bad cultural silos. And that's more of a, what do we bond over? We don't bond over necessarily news stories. And I'm a news junkie. You're a news junkie too. Cool. It's the fun of having common references, common experiences, common cultural experiences that we also don't have those anymore. My solution would be very simple. Elect many Democrats to office, as many as possible, and everybody throw out your smartphone. And I think that would make America in a few years,
I don't think that's
infinitely better.
I think that's unrealistic.
Yeah, and I think electing many Democrats is the less realistic part of what I just said.
Want to ask you about some pop culture stories that I was asked about instead of you on CNN, and you'd be way better to answer these, and sometimes I reach out to you to help me with them. But one of the stories that has captured the attention of many people over the past week or so was the actress Sydney Sweeney, who you have commented upon for a long time. You've talked about how attractive you find her. I think it's gross when you talk about young women that you're attracted to, especially when they're famous actresses and so on, but you do it. And I would never do that.
27? Is it? Yeah. 27 is still, she doesn't need Daddy Dominic looking out for her, okay? She's a grown-ass woman. The woman is basically a softcore porn star who loves Trump. If I can't talk about how attractive she is, then who can I talk about their
Go to the comments and tell us who you agree with, this pervert or me, Daddy Dominic, which is what I refer to myself to all the young ladies, apparently. She did an ad for jeans, for American Eagle jeans, and they captioned it like, oh, she's got good genes. And a lot of people went crazy because she's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, and eugenics, and there's a history there that I think it's a fair conclusion for people to draw. I think that if they didn't want people to draw that conclusion, they would have several of those ads they would release with a lot of different ethnic folks, different colors, LGBT folks. Everybody wears jeans, but clearly they wanted us to talk about it. It's got a lot of traction, including from the vice president.
I actually think I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm sorry to do this on your show.
Why are you sorry to do this? To disagree with me?
Because we're getting along so well. I genuinely think, I don't know, of course, but I really thought she's considered the sort of it girl of the moment. She's super hot.
Blonde hair, blue-eyed girl.
She gets naked so much that when I saw the horror movie about her playing a nun, I said, well, how are they going to get her naked in this? She's a nun. And then everybody was bathing in these tubs, but apparently she didn't wear any undergarments under her habit. So the white soaked through, and I said, okay, that's some PG-13 nudity right there. Thank you. So the point is, she is the it girl. And I took the jeans as literally meaning she's super beautiful. So that's good genes. And she's wearing our jeans.
Yeah.
And I did not take
beautiful and blonde hair, blue-eyed white women. And talk to me about all the it girls who are brown and black over our lifetime. Talk to me all about all those it girls that get they're number one in pop culture of it girl. Because I'm thinking of like Reese Witherspoon or Jennifer Aniston or Sandra Bullock or the it girls of the years. And I just like, there's it girls that are brown and black, but they're the it brown and black girl. They're never I just don't think our brains.
Oh, no. If that's what you're saying, yes, that
is always what I've been saying.
I think that may be a different critique though than like what American Eagle is doing.
Okay, so you're giving them
is guilty of many things. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because
the benefit of the doubt that they didn't see this
before all this noise. I literally was just like, oh, yeah, it's a simple pun, but yeah, she's smoking hot. So like
before all this noise, I was like, American Eagle is still a store. They have a whole bunch of people that have been doing this forever. In corporate meetings, marketing people, they needed to be talked about so we could remember or find out that they're a thing, and they did it, and then we're talking about it, and I'm shocked at your take.
And I know I'm more appalled that Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican in Florida.
I heard
that's fucking gross. But I will say this: we're going to move off of this story soon, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to make a prediction here.
Good.
The musical that will air of Jesus Christ Superstar, I think that's like NBC's live musical or new musical that they're putting out. I believe it's NBC. They've done this with a few live musicals in the past few years.
Black Jesus?
Oh, not just the Black Jesus. Cynthia Erivo, the incredibly talented black lesbian. I believe she's a lesbian because she was dating Lena Waithe.
She's playing Jesus?
She's playing Jesus.
A black woman is playing Jesus.
Yes, a black lesbian woman.
I'm pissed about that. I'm outraged.
And I'm just saying, and I think Adam Lambert, who is a gay white man, may be playing Judas. I'm not sure what role he's playing, but he's playing a major role. So this is much like the Sydney Sweeney Jean ad. I think what will happen is a random obscure TikToker from like Central California will post like herself snapping and saying, yes, queen, Jesus is a black gay woman. Yes, queen, intersectionality. Yes. And it will get, 90 likes on TikTok, but one right winger will see it. And it will become the lead story on every Fox show.
Yeah.
And it will become Christianity under attack. This is what the left thinks of Christianity. This is what they want to do to your faith, to your art. This is DEI coming for your Bible. Despite the fact that Cynthia Erivo is an incredible singer. Like when I watched Wicked, I love Wicked. I didn't know I was going to love Wicked. Her voice is so like clean and pure. And I don't want to sound like Barack Obama being described by Joe Biden in 2008, but it's such a crystal clear, crisp, beautiful, powerful voice that's like, I'll go listen to that. I could care less about the musical. I'll go listen to her sing and do her thing. But that is your next culture. And I think it could be it won't be as big as Sydney Sweeney because they want to keep talking about Sydney Sweeney because they like Sydney Sweeney and want to think about her and look at her. But the Cynthia Erivo thing, I guarantee, is going to be a big pop culture.
Oh, yeah, no, your prediction is, I had no idea about this, and I think we'll see. When will we know? It's August 3rd that it's the Hollywood Bowl. I mean, they've been performing it, I guess, for a while.
Oh, that's right now.
Is that today? Yeah, that is today. The other
Move over, Sydney Sweeney. There's a bigger issue.
Well, the thing about the
gay person in a theater show. Nobody's ever heard of that before.
The thing about the Sydney Sweeney story is that's worth mentioning, I think, and was asked to comment about this, was that J.D. Vance made a big deal of it. And basically his criticism was like, all those people who say this is racist or eugenics or whatever, these Democrats, this is why they lost. And this is making them look bad. And it was, as I said on TV, it's like no Democrat is talking about this story. No elected Democrat, Democrat on the campaign trail. People are being asked about it on panels. It is a social media driven thing.
But this is the problem. This is what happened with, and I like JB Pritzker's approach to trans issues, which is like, we got to defend those people and be proud about it. Mm-hmm. But instead of the sort of hiding away and trying to pretend like they don't exist, but I think this is the same thing as Trump and Republicans going, the Democrats, all they are is obsessed with trans people. They never talk about anything else. And it's like, no, Republicans never stop telling you that's all they talk about. And you never listen to a Democrat or watch a left-leaning or centrist news show. So you never actually hear, you're getting all your information about Democrats secondhand. That's what's so odd about this. And the Sydney Sweeney story, whatever you think of the ad campaign, I was like, all I heard was from right-leaning people in terms of media coverage and accounts and things like that. It was them and then saying the left. Right. This is what the left is about. And it's like, the real question is, how do you counteract an ecosystem where people want to hate the left and don't want to ever listen to them and just want to hear bad things about them secondhand and take them as gospel truth? Right. They don't like it's absurd.
How do you do it? How do you? I mean, it's a very hard thing to try to strategize, to react to and deal with when it gets out in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, and it's the city. Do I agree with the sort of trio of TikTok clips I saw on Fox playing about this? No, I don't agree with them. I don't think this is some eugenics campaign. That's just my opinion. But I definitely know they have not one video clip or quote from anybody of any significance, even as an influencer, even somebody with like 500,000 followers, forget politically or culturally, just somebody with a big audience. I have yet to see somebody even quoting somebody where it's like, some Theo Vaughn of the left kind of complaining about this, let alone somebody of like stature or importance. So it's but this is why I think the solution, of course, has to be, if just like I want Democrats to vote for Mamdani in New York because I stand behind what I say both ways. If a centrist Democrat wins your primary wherever you are, fucking vote for them. If a more progressive or very left wing Democrat wins your primary where you are, vote for them. And everybody just needs to be on board. Like the lesson is so fucking clear. And I keep saying this on my podcast and in videos where it's just like, look at the last 100 years, barring something here or there from maybe Eisenhower or Nixon, every good thing in your fucking life that the government provides was the result of a Democratic president and a large Democratic majority in Congress.
No doubt.
That's the formula. And if you're a progressive and you hate the centrists, you can't be mad at Democrats when they have a 51-49 majority in the Senate and claim they're not doing everything you want. 60, and that may not be possible, but fucking 60 is the goal. And the House is the goal. And the formula is there. And it's being rigged so that we can't achieve that formula. What's going on in Texas is disgusting.
Yep.
And
Democrats just abandon the state to prevent them from gerrymandering districts.
It's all hands on deck.
They'll bring more attention to what they're doing. It's a confusing issue for people to understand, but they're gerrymandering districts in the most racist way in Texas. And most Americans have no idea, probably even most Texans. And so Democrats fleeing the state this way, I think, will bring a lot of attention to it. Put Jasmine Crockett on the map years ago, and she was one of the Democrats who fled to prevent the anti-abortion law from passing.
Yeah, the solution is clear, and I think the only thing that can happen, I don't know how to make people more engaged and care more about their government, but Donald Trump is secretly, or not so secretly, the best weapon the Democrats have.
Yeah, he always has been in many ways.
And the pain will be real, and it will potentially be very bad. But that's it. Like, you didn't want to believe Democrats, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, whoever, you didn't want to believe, and the facts were so obvious and it was so predictable what he was going to do. And the only way to get through is to and I love it when people say Democrats' approval ratings are even worse now. And that goes back to my joke about Democrats being America's single mom. And the deadbeat dad gets to show up and take the kids to a ball game every 4 years. And they go, yeah, dad rocks. He lets me curse. And
I love that.
But it's
perfect.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I get very flustered because I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm not
if
sure.
You don't want to know, if you don't want to know what's going on, and then you don't want to believe what's going on, what's the solution? And that's why I keep saying the solution, in my opinion, is not Gavin Newsom doing performative bipartisanship by meeting with like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. I know why he did that. It's a cynical move, but I think he knows there are people out there who will just feel happy that he did that. They'll think like the people who like Joe Manchin, even though he held up so many fucking things, are the people who like it when Gavin Newsom at least talks to a big person on the right. But the real solution is, hey, Bernie fans, AOC fans, Cuomo fans, Biden fans, every person who identifies left of center, fight it out and then get on board. That's the part that we're not, because we outnumber them. We have righteousness and data on our side. So until the MAGA right wakes up to the pain that Trump is going to inflict on them, they are not dependable partners. They are not a dependable open audience. We have the majority if people just fucking say, all right, man, Mamdani won in my city. Fuck it. I'll go with him. Let's see. If you're willing to take a risk, everybody always was willing to take a fucking risk on Trump. Sure, he rapes women and he's stupid and he tried to do treason, but I want to give him a chance because I just don't know about comedy, because the economy and inflation is killing me, so I'm desperate here. Okay, Mamdani comes in and is like, I'm trying to get more grocery stores and affordable rent because people are fucking homeless and in shelters. If you thought the price of eggs was worth taking a chance on a bigot, then I think losing your home and being able to eat food is worth taking a chance on a young, radical Democrat socialist. And we need to start talking in those terms where it's like, you can't just be, if they will only take a chance on their asshole, then we as a collective left of center anti-Trump have to be willing to take a chance on anybody who stands for the Constitution and fighting MAGA. And I don't care if they're not your, if Andrew Cuomo won the primary, I'd be saying the same thing to my progressive friends. Like, what, you want Curtis Sliwa? You want New York to become a tool of Donald Trump? Don't do it. At least Cuomo won't do that. And now I'm trying to tell people you're scared of Mamdani because the boogeyman stories they're telling you. No, don't fall for it. Give him a chance. If he fucks up, he fucks up. I'm not saying he won't, but give him a chance and have realistic expectations too.
That's a little bit too much to ask. The realistic expectations.
No, I know that 3 weeks in they'll be going, somebody got stabbed on a subway. Mamdani, he's turning the city into 9/11 again.
I got to ask you about how you're emotionally dealing with what your thoughts are, obviously, politically.
I'm finding out Sydney Sweeney is a Republican. I'm devastated.
On the starvation and violence in Gaza, I feel like, we're in a kind of a new phase here with this. It's pretty horrific what's going on. A lot more people seem to be paying attention. Something about starvation.
Marjorie Taylor Greene accidentally said something Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how far this has gone. She accidentally stumbled into saying something Christian without the nationalism.
Yeah. Yeah.
She just said something about kids dying being terrible. That was amazing. I mean, what a moment.
It was. Yeah. Although I do feel like it might have also.
She also found out that Israel's Jewish. I think she was like,
it also might have
laser
been,
people.
Yeah.
The space. I've been defending the space laser people this whole time. I think I have said from the beginning, and this was my advice to Kamala Harris. She didn't pick up the phone when I called. Doug was probably jealous, and I know she was staying close to Biden. She didn't want to disrespect Biden, which is always one of those things where I go, people act like loyalty and respecting the foreign policy of your boss and the current president are like ridiculous fucking concepts. But I think what they should have done, and I wish Biden had done it because I know he hates that motherfucker Netanyahu. I was saying this for like the whole election season. Why not make a statement like, we stand with Israel because they are our friends and allies. We have a long, deep ties to Israel. I do not trust, and I saw Richie Torres made a statement kind of like this. He's said,
a big Israel supporting
pro-Israel, but he said, I don't think Israel and the U.S. are done, but I think Democrats and Netanyahu are done. It is irreparable.
There's a huge movement. They took a vote on it, and 12 more Senate Democrats voted than did the last time they voted for it. This Bernie Sanders, a Jew, proposed amendment.
Yeah.
So
but my
is changing. It's crazy.
Yes. But what I thought the way to approach this as a Democrat for election purposes was to separate as clearly and forcefully as possible Israel and Netanyahu's corruption and his violence and his bloodlust. I think I'm sort of stunned in a way, and I guess I shouldn't be, but how like we've gone from getting lip service of a two-state solution from everybody to him being like, there will never happen. There will never be a two-state solution. Like he's just like, he's down with Smotrich and Ben Gvir, these two psychopaths.
Not good guys.
Terrible people. But good guitar players, though.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, I don't know. But I think I thought the way to play this morally was to separate completely, say we no longer back the Netanyahu regime. We will support Israel. We want a sound, humane policy. We stood by you, you motherfucker, when you were attacked, and we've been giving you weapons and support and defending you in the UN. And it reminds me of Pedro Serrano in Major League.
Here we go.
Where he is striking out a lot, and it's the playoffs, and he needs to hit a home run. And he talks to his voodoo spirit. Yeah. And he says, Jobu, I stick up for you. I treat you good. But help me now. I say, fuck you, Jobu. I do it myself. And then he hits a home run. And my point is, we have allowed Netanyahu to destroy these people in Gaza, destroy the Democratic Party from within in the most important election of our lifetimes as a wedge issue, because we were trying to be we're with you, but can you do it? Not because we don't know. It's tough because Republicans just get to always say, kill them all, and everybody cheers. And we have to be like, well, we understand the importance of diplomatic relationships, but we don't like what's going on. Oh, look at the Democrats, so wishy-washy, talking about nuance and diplomacy and trying to be like fair to all parties and try to find a middle path. What a bunch of pussies. I like kill them all. Now, I don't agree with killing any of them, but at least kill them all is clear. Not killing them all and let's find a solution is not clear. And I will choose murders I don't want over ambiguity, which scares me. And I think we should fucking hang that motherfucker out to dry. I think Netanyahu and the far-right coalition that's been driving him, as well as his desire to stay out of prosecution. He's honestly like a tough, smart Trump. He has the morals of Trump, but he really is a cunning, tough, intimidating sort of guy. Like he is all the things that Trump kind of wishes he was, to be honest. And that's dangerous and more dangerous, I think, than a fucking coward like Trump.
Yeah.
And we should have separated from him. I think what's going on is atrocious. I think at least it's reached some point now where some people are taking some votes and taking some action, but it should it's fucking clear. And I know people say Hamas is doing this. If they just release the hostages, guess what? When you're the fucking good guy, as Israel claims it is, and what America always claims itself to be, you take some losses. The good guy doesn't go undefeated in world politics and war because you don't just drop nukes on Gaza and you don't drop nukes wherever you're annoyed. You suffer casualties. You try to fight with the rules of the Geneva Convention. You don't just go, we got all the bombs, fuck them. And what I think that's a harsh lesson and tough for people to take, but sometimes the good guy takes losses to remain good. Sometimes you don't have total victory. You don't have total slaughter because you're the good guy. The bad guys, I would argue that's the way the Republicans and Democrats differ in politics. The Republicans play like bad guys. The goal is winning, not preserving the Constitution, not preserving the Union, not helping people. It's winning. And Democrats show that sometimes being the good guy and defending all the things you stand on is not always as successful and clear cut. And I think Israel, and there are people there, some people there who obviously see this as an ongoing embarrassment and shame, but it's like kids are starving. So if Hamas lives to see another day in some severely diminished capacity,
well, they will.
And hundreds of children live, thousands of people live who have nothing to do with this, that's a good. It's not a total win.
The more people, the more children you starve, the more people you kill, the more likely you are to raise people who are going to want revenge. It's just so obvious. You talk about the good guys and the bad guys. I always feel like you're almost always one of the bad guys if you end up resorting to violence, especially when it comes to international geopolitics. You know, it's like being a small guy and a comedian. I've always run my mouth and like made fun of big guys, and eventually they might punch me because they can't keep up with me verbally, but that's never the way to solve the problem.
Yes, I will. Wait, what was, you were speaking like in general. I'm sorry.
In general, I was saying, now I'm scared of you. Like you're going to pound me. Are you going to pound me with your giant fist above my head? All right, I'll let you go. I appreciate you being here. You got to go do your podcast. What else do you want to plug besides the podcasts, which are so good? I always listen to Rain on Your Parade, especially.
Obviously, I'd love for people to order cameos. The business did very well in July for some reason, so that was good. Yeah, I got a lot of orders in July.
What's the most popular?
Well, Facebook, I've recently kind of started a fan page on Facebook, and I've already got it in 3 months to over 30,000 people.
What?
So so that was like a new group of people that were, huge. I think, learning about me. And I didn't use any ads or anything. It was cool. Huh. But, Cameo, my Patreon's only $3 a month. There's always good stuff every month there. And but my YouTube channel, subscribe there. And as far as shows, I have a really big show. Any New Yorkers, any New York City people or Long Island people, very big Trump show this Thursday at Grove 34 in Astoria, 8 p.m., Very, very fun. Trust me, it's a very fun show. Me as Trump, the whole show, improv, taking questions from the crowd, debating Obama, hanging out with J.D. Vance. We have two guys who play them very good. Dan Wilber as J.D. Vance, Jordan Carlo as Obama, and a seance with Hulk Hogan will be part of the show.
That's awesome. I love it.
So that's
funny.
I'm in Jersey City on the 21st, and I just booked Philadelphia October 22nd and Charlotte, North Carolina, December 28th. So just put those as I squeeze gigs into the limited amount of vacation time I have now that I'm a hero, I think is what my job description is.
I can't wait to talk about your new job with you as well. I appreciate you joining me as always. Go support JL. Thank you for everybody who watched live. This will air on the podcast tomorrow. And
this was a good one, Pete.
I thought it was great. Yeah, it's always great with you. I love talking to you. I love listening to you. You're one of my favorite minds because you make me laugh and think at the same time. And you're just a really good person. Just, yeah. All right, bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. There you go. That's it. That's all. JL Cauvin, plus your headlines and your clip show. Up a little late today, but we got it, and I hope that you appreciated it, learned from it, and enjoyed it as much as I did doing it. Can't do it without your support. You can always pay more, but as little as $5, and you can become one of the over 750 subscribers and members of the stand-up community. We would love that. We welcome you in. Hope to see you at tonight's Hangout. Thank you, Jon Carroll, for the new music. And this is our theme song. He is a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, and you should go buy it. JonCarroll.org. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, folks.
That's the time you gotta finally get up on your knees. When you can't see the forest for the burning trees, you got to stand up. Hey, you've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you got to stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. Don't get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. This is the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of a stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We got to let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. All right, we got to speak up, we got to reach up, and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up, stand up. Got to stand up. Ooh, come on, just stand up. Everybody got to stand up in the darkest hour. Stand up. come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.